Mr. Manager.
Yes, tonight, Commission, we have one work session item. I've invited Leanne Castillo from National Trail Parks and Recreation District to share an update of what's going on within TPRD, especially as we approach the warmer months, hopefully, and all the great programming that they're offering throughout our community this summer.
All right, thank you for having me this evening. We are hoping to get this rain and cold weather over. It's not what we ordered, and the baseball teams are not enjoying it. So hopefully that'll be done soon. Tonight, I just wanted to, I haven't been here for a while, and this will be our first real summer back to normal. Last year was a little bit better. I've passed out our spring guides. Our summer guides are almost done, and we will be mailing them to every household in Clark County at the middle of May, which we have not done since 2019. So we're excited to get our information out to the community again. But what I thought I'd do tonight is first start off with a little video. I hope you guys have seen this, but just in case you haven't.
My first experience with the parks is when I was a little girl, and we used to go to the park all the time, and we would hike in the park, and it was a place of importance to our family.
Parks to me are a gathering place. No matter how bad your day's been, you enter a park and you feel a calm.
My favorite thing is working with the kids, because you never know what they're going to ask, what they're going to say, what they're going to do.
I love Old Reed Park because as a child, I used to come here fishing with my grandmother as a kid, and then would ride my bicycle down here. I grew up in the outdoors, and it was just a good experience.
And you don't even realize how close you are to the middle of Springfield. You feel like you're out in the middle of nowhere.
I can't name any other amenity that appeals to every single age group in such a variety of ways.
You can go to a park, you can go to a soccer field, basketball court, and it somehow is connected with national trails.
Parks and recreation are critical to economic development and to bringing more families and bringing more jobs to our communities.
And our community should be thrilled to know what so many community groups are doing to improve the life and quality of living in Clark County and Springfield, Ohio.
National Trail, providing endless experiences in Clark County.
That's just a little bit. I know you guys have heard me talk before, and I'm very excited and passionate about Parks and Recreation and what we offer to the community. This is just a little snapshot of what we have in Clark County, and most of this is based in the city of Springfield, but we have 24 parks and facilities, 1,200 acres. I won't read everything to you, but we went up to 16 playgrounds last year. We were able to add 2 new ones, and this year we're improving the Buck Creek Nature Park behind our administration building with a grant through the Ohio Department of Health and the Clark County Combined Health District. We'll be making improvements to that park and hopefully adding 2 more parks in the coming year. So we're very excited about, or playgrounds, not parks. We're very excited about what's happening. We have several projects that we're working on with the community development department, as well as some community groups that have stepped forward and are trying to raise money. Chris Wallace from Springfield High School has been working with Nationwide Insurance and also the Braxton Miller Foundation and several other community groups to raise money to buy glass backboards and standards for the Davie Moore basketball courts. So those old ones came down yesterday, so the project is started, and then we will be paving those basketball courts, striping those, and looking forward to some more improvements at Davie Moore Park. We're also working with community development to do some improvements at Selma Road Park, and possibly Sherman Avenue Park as well. So lots of exciting things happening after 2 years of kind of taking it a whole new direction that obviously everyone had to learn to do their jobs differently, but we had to spin completely and shut everything down. And but at that same time, we were the place that people were coming. We had more visitors, more trail users, more interactions on social media, more people coming to us as that respite and a place to be and spend time with their family in a safe outdoor environment. So we're very excited about what we've been able to do and get the word out about who we are. This is information based on National Recreation and Park Association with the number of visitors in all of our parks and our trails and programs. So these are not unique visits, but over 1.5 million people or visits to the parks. We're just very proud of what we're able to do in those facilities that the city provides for our community, and thankful for the support the city does give us to do all of those. The next few slides are just some different pictures of what we have. I'm very excited. This year we have almost 800 kids in our spring soccer program, which is our highest ever. I was just out there. It's like a wind tunnel tonight, but those kids are running around the field. One of the things we had to do during COVID was shut this program down and then limit our numbers. So we designed the whole program differently. And now we offer it on specific days. So you sign up for Monday, Wednesday, Tuesday, Saturday, Thursday, Saturday. And we weren't sure how that would go, but parents have been very excited because then they know what they're signing up for. So instead of signing up for games on Saturday and who knows when your practice will be, they're very organized and know exactly when they will be there. Splash Zone is getting ready to open again this year with our same management staff, and we are almost full with lifeguards. And we are one of the few in the Dayton area that can say that. So we're really excited. We have a great training program bringing these kids up, and they come back year after year. And I think that's because of the atmosphere and morale that those managers build with the staff. Fireworks are going to take place on Sunday, July 3rd this year, and it will be once again on the banks of the Buck Creek. So we'll be able to see it from all over the community. And for those of you that saw it last year and missed the first few because they were too low, we eliminated those. So everything will be higher and more visible from the very beginning. The Summer Arts Festival is back in full swing with a great lineup. If you've had any, we were just talking about you. Great lineup this year at Veterans Parks. We're excited. And the spray ground will open again this year. Last year we had some problems. We were trying to get those fixed because we were told we wouldn't be able to open it. Then we were told we could open it, but we were already planned. And then the fix didn't go as we wanted, but it is back in working order, and hopefully we'll have the water on this week. Water's been delayed with all the freezing temperatures. So we're excited about getting that going again. This is just some pictures of the different parks. Not only do we have our athletic facilities, but we also have our nature preserves with hiking trails, prairies, meadows. We grow about 12,000 different flowers in the greenhouse on our property that we then plant throughout the community. We have dog parks. We do have the Champion City Kings coming back again this summer. Wittenberg is wrapping up their season at Carlton-Davidson Stadium, as well as Clark State and Catholic Central at the Annex. So we're excited to see those programs continuing. In the bottom left-hand corner there, you'll see the weight station at Snyder Park that was damaged by a tree that went through the roof. And if you drive by, that has not been repaired. We took a long time with insurance, and now they're just trying to find someone to mill the wood so that we can get it fixed. So it is still happening. We hope that it'll be done in the very near future. Some more pictures of the parks and the greenhouses, the signs. Donnie Rice is one of our most talented employees, I would say, and I cannot imagine the thousands of dollars that we save by him with his masonry skills being able to build all of those stone signs throughout our park system, and we'll be adding some more of those this year. So we're keep moving on, and I'm going to end with another video that I want to show you, and then I'll take any questions that you might have.
providing endless experiences in Clark County.
Hey, that video, no real words, but I think it says a lot through the transitions of all the different activities that we offer and provide for people of all ages. And I think that's what's so great about Parks and Recreation is no matter your age or your interest, there's something you can find to do. And as I said, our guide will be mailed out to everyone. Coming up events, Tuesday, we start our summer camp registration, and then next Saturday, the 7th, will be the plant sale for the Master Gardeners of Clark County, OSU Extension, and also Landia Garden Association. So next Saturday would be a great day to head down to Snyder Park, not only for the plant sale, but to see all of the amazing improvements they have done there, which will then lead into our work that we're doing closer to Route 40 with all of the trails and nature area. So great place to stop by.
I have a couple questions. Are you looking at opening Splash Zone as usual around Memorial Day or
Yes.
obviously weather cooperating, but
Yes, Splash Zone will open for business on Saturday, May 28th, which is the Saturday of Memorial Day weekend at noon. You are all invited to come the night before from 5 to 7. We have our soft opening where we'll invite staff and commissioners, bring your friends, family, grandkids, kids, and go down the slide with us. But we'll open ready for business, fitness passes, season passes, everything's back in full force this year.
what are the costs?
On page, I don't have them by heart. On page 16, it gives you the cost. Daily admission is youth $5 and adults $7. And then under that, the passes for seniors 60 and older, it's $100. Ages 14 to 59 is $110, and youth passes 4 to 13 are $90. And then we have a fitness pass, which is just for our fitness programs, such as water walking, lap swimming, and aerobics classes. And then a super pass you can buy to be a fitness member and a regular member. So that's all on page 16.
Other thing on page 9, I was struck with the garlic mustard challenge.
Yes.
What is the garlic mustard challenge?
Garlic mustard is a very invasive species that takes over the parks very quickly. You go to Perrin Woods, I think that's one of the best examples where it's spread all over the floor of the park. And before they bloom, we pull them out. And when you pull them out, they're very easy to come by the root, put them in a bag, and then we will dispose of them. If you just throw them in the woods, they're going to grow in another place and keep being invasive, like those pear trees we've been hearing about and honeysuckle. So we have everyone bring bags. We have a special location by our front door with a sign, and they bring them, and everyone will win a prize. And the person who brings the most pounds of garlic mustard will win a prize at the end.
Thank you.
The pickleball courts, those are all done and open, right?
Not yet.
Okay.
We are still working on that. The contract is in the legal department. I think we're waiting on a few things and then some signatures, and we'll be on the calendar for some time this year.
Oh.
So we're very excited. That'll be 8 pickleball courts, 3 tennis courts. And it's a project that's been needed for quite some time. So lots of people in the community will be glad to see that done.
Mm-hmm.
So the new playgrounds that you had discussed, where are those going to be and when will those be available?
Well, we're still working on those, but we're trying for Selma Road and Davie Moore Park. So we're working on those plans, part of a whole project that I told you, the basketball court project started yesterday, and we're working to expand that. So I don't have all the details. This all just came about last week. So when we have information in the future, I'm sure Brian will let me come and discuss that, or he can report for me.
Sure, thank you.
Thank you. All right. Well, as always, please come out and enjoy the parks. And if you have questions, you can call me, email me, and I will find out answers if I don't know them. But thanks for your time tonight.
Thank you.
Thank you, Leanne. Commissioners, before we move towards our public hearings, we do have two items listed on our add-on sheet. The first one is a revision to 125-22 to the Springfield Revitalization Community Reinvestment Area map boundaries. We missed an area that we wanted to include as part of this map change, and so that's been adjusted. And then item 131-22 is authorizing the issuance of a purchase order for the rebuild of a screw pump gearbox from Horner Industrial Group for an amount not to exceed $54,900 and declaring this an emergency as this is a important piece to our wastewater process.
You ready for public hearing?
Can we have a motion to adjourn this meeting?
So moved.
Second.
Been moved and seconded. Questions or comments? Clerk, call the roll.
Ms. Phillips?
Yes.
Mr. O'Neill?
Yes.
Mr. Rue?
Yes.
Dr. Estrad?
Yes.
Mr. Cope?
Yes.
Thank you.
Okay, the public hearing scheduled for 6:50 is called to order. Clerk will call the roll.
Dr. Estrad?
Here?
Mr. O'Neill?
Here.
Ms. Phillips?
Here.
Mr. Rue?
Here.
Mr. Copeland?
Here. The President, that's me. The purpose of this meeting is for a public hearing to consider proposed change in zoning. Has proper legal notice been given to the hearing?
Notice of a public hearing for the purpose of considering the proposed change in zoning for 2.84 acres located at 1235 South Burnett Road from CI1 Intensive Commercial District to CC2 Community Commercial District was published in the Springfield News and Sun, a newspaper of general circulation within the city. Attached here too is a true and correct copy of the legal notice published on March 23rd, 2022.
I move that the communication be ordered, received, recorded in the minutes, and filed.
Second.
Been moved and seconded. Clerk will call the roll.
Mr. O'Neill?
Yes.
Ms. Phillips?
Yes.
Dr. Estrad?
Yes?
Mr. Rue?
Yes.
Mr. Copeland?
Yes. Staff report.
Good evening, everyone. The applicant seeks approval to make use of remaining parcel, which is currently vacant, and they use the space for self-storage units. The current structure on site is used for retail, which is a car lot, retail store. The owner or applicant has future plans to repave and design the property for having self-storage units behind the car lot. The Connect Clark County Comprehensive Plan shows future character area as mixed-use low intensity. The parcel is surrounded by city commercial use to the north, residential to the south, Springfield Township industrial to the east, and residential to the west. The requested rezoning of parcel is compatible with surrounding land uses, and the existing rail corridor segregates subject parcel from residential uses in south and west directions. Making use of parcel for self-storage units requires changing zoning district to CC2 community commercial district, where self-storage units are permitted as conditional use. So after receiving approval for rezoning, the next step for the owner will be to apply for a conditional use permit to make use of property for self-storage units. A conditional use permit will be approved by a Board of Zoning Appeals. Return reports from staff state no objections and recommend approval of request to rezone the parcel. The request was approved unanimously at Planning Board meeting, and there were no objections from the public. Staff recommends approving the request. Thank you.
Any questions or comments from commissioners?
Have there been any objections since the meetings have been held?
No, there have been no objections.
Thank you.
Any other thing from Vice Commission? Anyone in the audience want to speak to this matter? Is there a motion to adjourn?
So moved.
Second.
Been moved and seconded. Clerk will call the roll.
Mr. O'Neill?
Yes.
Yes.
Mr. Rue?
Yes.
Dr. Estrad?
Yes?
Mr. Copeland?
Yes. Public hearing scheduled for 6:55 is called to order. The roll call from the previous hearing cover this one also. Purpose of this meeting is for a public hearing to consider proposed change in zoning. Has proper legal notice been given to the hearing?
Notice of a public hearing for the purpose of considering the proposed change in zoning for 2.48 acres located at 300 East Auburn Avenue from CO1 Commercial Office District to RM12 Low Density Single Family Residence District was published in the Springfield News and Sun, a newspaper of general circulation within the city. Attached here too is a true and correct copy of the legal notice published on March 23rd, 2022.
I move that the communication be ordered received, recorded in the minutes, and filed.
Second.
Moved and seconded. Clerk, call the roll.
Mr. Rue?
Yes.
Dr. Estrop?
Yes.
Mr. O'Neill?
Yes.
Ms. Phillips?
Yes.
Mr. Copeland?
Yes. Staff report.
The applicant is seeking approval to rezone the parcel from a commercial office district to a low-density multifamily residence district. The Connect Clark County Comprehensive Plan shows future character area as mixed-use low-intensity. The use of parcel as multifamily residence is listed under permitted uses within this character area. The parcel is surrounded by residential use and zones, so the proposed use is compatible with existing surrounding uses. Return reports from city staff state no objection and recommend approval of the request to rezone the parcel. The request was approved unanimously by the planning board. Thank you.
Questions or comments?
Were there any objections after all the meetings were held?
Yes, there were a few callers with concerns and were encouraged to attend the meeting. They were also present at the meeting where their concerns were addressed by the owner or applicant who are present at this meeting as well.
What were the concerns and how were they addressed?
They were related to type of housing and number of units and who is going to occupy once it's approved, which were answered by the applicant.
Thank you.
Thank you.
Also from commission? And the audience want to speak to this matter? Is there a motion to adjourn?
Move.
Second.
Been moved and seconded. Clerk will call the roll.
Dr. Estrop?
Yes.
Mr. O'Neill?
Yes.
Ms. Phillips?
Yes.
Mr. Rue?
Yes.
Mr. Copeland?
Yes. Ready for the meeting? Yes. The meeting of the City Commission is called to order. Clerk will call the roll.
Dr. Estrop?
Here.
Mr. O'Neill?
Yes.
Ms. Phillips?
Present.
Mr. Rue?
Here.
Mr. Copeland?
Yes, please rise for the invocation and pledge of allegiance. Our God, we seek to make decisions that are good for the people of Springfield. Help us to do that this evening and improve the community in various ways while at the same time treating people fairly. In your name we pray. Amen. Pledge allegiance to the flag of America, to the republic for which it stands, one nation, under God, indivisible. Motion to
I'll move.
Second.
the roll.
Mr. O'Neill?
Yes.
Ms. Phillips?
Yes.
Mr. Rue?
Yes.
Dr. Estrop?
Yes.
Mr. Copeland?
Yes. Clerk will proceed with first readings by title only.
Amending the zoning map of Springfield, Ohio by rezoning 2.84 acres at 1235 South Burnett Road, Springfield, Ohio, from CI1 Intensive Commercial District to CC2 Community Commercial District. Amending the zoning map of Springfield, Ohio by rezoning 2.48 acres at 300 East Auburn Avenue, Springfield, Ohio, from CO1 Commercial Office District to RM12 Low Density Multifamily Residence District. Authorizing a contribution to Kiwanis Club of Springfield, Ohio in the amount of $3,000 to support the Springfield Blues and Jazz Festival. Authorizing the city manager to enter into a development incentive agreement single-family residential development with Stacy Shealy to provide for water and sewer services to real property outside the city limits. Authorizing the city manager to enter into amendment number 1 to the contract between the city and Moody's of Dayton Incorporated for the well pump cleaning and rehabilitation project to extend the contract completion date to December 31, 2022. To amend ordinance number 9190 passed March 12, 1991, and commonly known as the codified ordinances of the city of Springfield, Ohio, by repealing and replacing existing chapter 1305 with a new chapter 1305 titled International Property Maintenance Code.
Are there any questions or comments from commissioners on first readings? Anyone in the audience? Clerk will proceed with second reading.
Vacating the first alley north of West Mulberry Street from South Center Street east to South Fountain Avenue.
Moved.
Second.
It's been moved and seconded. Questions or comments from the commission? From the audience? Clerk will call the roll.
Ms. Phillips?
Yes.
Mr. O'Neill?
Yes.
Dr. Estrop?
Yes.
Mr. Rue?
Yes.
Mr. Copeland?
Yes.
Confirming and approving amendment number 1 to the CARES Act Revolving Loan Fund, EDA Revolving Loan Fund Subrecipient Funding Agreement between the city and SBDC Incorporated to increase the agreement in an amount not to exceed $18,750 for a total agreement amount not to exceed $825,000.
Move to adopt.
Second.
Been moved and seconded. Questions or comments from the commission? From the audience? Clerk will call the roll.
Dr. Estrop?
Yes.
Mr. O'Neill?
Yes.
Ms. Phillips?
Yes.
Mr. Rue?
Yes.
Mr. Copeland?
Yes.
Authorizing the city manager to enter into a purchase agreement with KK Tool Company for the sale of certain real property located at 223-225 South Wittenberg Avenue and 218-220 West Jefferson Street.
Move to adopt.
Second.
Been moved and seconded. Questions or comments from the commission? From the audience? Clerk will call the roll.
Mr. O'Neill?
Yes.
Ms. Phillips?
Yes.
Mr. Rue?
Yes.
Dr. Estrop?
Yes.
Mr. Copeland?
Yes.
Authorizing the city manager to enter into a contract for demolition services with Tony Smith doing business as Tony Smith Wrecking and Trucking for an amount not to exceed $400,000.
Moved.
Second.
Been moved and seconded. Questions or comments from the commission? Mr. Estrop?
I wanted to ask about 10622 and 10722 and 10822. Both are for demolition services. Is that 400,000 for each individual company or 4,000 both? 400.
So we open up basically a blanket purchase order with both of these companies. Both are authorized under this to perform demolition services. We would not plan to exceed $400,000 in total investment, but this allows us to work with either of the two contractors as we move through our demolition program.
I know we've made a lot of progress on trying to save somehow in terms of the receivership program and the compassionate code enforcement. It's unfortunate, but we do find homes that are really beyond repair. The basic structures are shot and there's no saving them. They have to be demolished, or in some cases, because fire division's been involved and there's been a fire there, we have to take it down as a matter of public safety. A lot of people have said to me, can't you save them? Well, some we can if they have good bones, but those that have been involved in a fire or those that the bones are shot, we have to protect the public and improve our community. I think it's important that we recognize that. Thank you.
Anything else from commissioners? Anyone in the audience want to speak to this? Clerk will call the roll.
Ms. Phillips?
Yes.
Mr. Rue? Dr. Estrop?
Yes.
Mr. O'Neill?
Yes.
Mr. Copeland?
Yes.
Authorizing the city manager to enter into a contract for demolition services with Steve Roush Incorporated for an amount not to exceed $400,000.
So moved.
Second.
Been moved and seconded. Questions or comments from the commission? From the audience? Clerk will call the roll.
Mr. Rue?
Yes.
Dr. Estrop?
Yes.
Mr. O'Neill?
Yes.
Ms. Phillips?
Yes.
Mr. Copeland?
Yes.
authorizing the purchase of one 2023 MV 607 SBA Broom Bear single-engine street sweeper with dual side brooms from Jack Doheny for an amount not to exceed $317,954.60 plus trade-in credit of $20,000 for a net purchase amount not to exceed $297,954.60 through Sourcewell pursuant to the Sourcewell Contract Purchasing Cooperative Program in accordance with the provisions of Section 9.48 of the Ohio Revised Code.
Move to adopt.
Second.
Been moved and seconded. Questions or comments from the commission?
I was wondering if, Mr. Moore, if you could enlighten us. This helps us stay in compliance with certain EPA requirements, am I correct?
Yes, so when we sweep the streets, obviously we do it for aesthetics. We want to get any trash and litter removed, but these sweepers also take out a lot of particulate matter that's down in the cracks. I always think about when you go to an intersection and it's first raining, it's the slickest. That's because all the grit and grime that's on the road. And these mechanical sweepers really help get those up and keep them out of our waterways. We're supposed to sweep every road at least once per year. Thankfully, between our contract and our in-house sweeping, we're able to greatly exceed that every year.
Very good. Thank you.
Anyone else? Clerk will call the roll.
Mr. O'Neill?
Yes.
Phillips?
Yes.
Dr. Estrop?
Yes?
Mr. Rue?
Yes.
Mr. Copeland?
Yes.
Confirming purchases and the obtaining of services for the city and providing for payment therefore, and declaring it an emergency therein.
Move to adopt.
Second.
Been moved and seconded. Questions or comments from the commission? From the audience? Clerk will call the roll.
Dr. Estrop?
Yes?
Ms. Phillips?
Yes.
Mr. O'Neill?
Yes.
Mr. Rue?
Yes.
Mr. Copeland?
Yes.
Implementing sections 3735.65 through 3735.70 of the Ohio Revised Code, amending the boundaries of Springfield Revitalization Community Reinvestment Area in the city of Springfield, Ohio, and designating a housing officer to administer the program and declaring it an emergency therein.
Move to
So moved.
second.
Questions or comments from the commission?
Yeah, I think Bobby's ready to explain this a little bit more and what this means to the community. Also, maybe just recap us on what a CRA also does for property owners, current, future.
Well, good evening. Thanks for having me. So our CRA is focused on residential tax abatement. So for redevelopment or for new construction of residential structures, this will prevent the homeowner from having to pay property tax. Ooh, I'm nervous here.
Yeah.
First time up. I'm sorry. This will prevent the homeowner or the person that does the renovation from paying additional property tax. So they will increase the value of their home.
All right.
I gotta relax.
Yeah, you're okay.
So this will prevent them.
Listen, the 5 people watching at home are going to appreciate your
Yeah, all 7 people on Facebook Live, right?
Yeah.
So if you were to do a project to increase the value of your home by $2,500 or more, the additional tax that you'd pay on that gets abated. So that would be for up to 15 years. So that's how the CRA works.
Great. So this would incentivize people that have homes to reinvest in their homes, obviously, and then the benefit would be that they would just get a tax for every bit of investment in the increased property. They would get a tax benefit from.
Correct. So it won't be a reduction in their existing taxes, just the extra they would pay for that improvement. And if it's market conditions that increase the value of their home, they're still going to have to pay that tax.
Got a couple questions for you. Actually, one may be for Brian. Since this directly affects the real estate taxes, and we know about 2/3 of the real estate taxes goes to the school system, did you have the opportunity to talk to the school district about this and explain what we were doing? They're not going to lose any money. Actually, over time, they ought to gain some money from this, but were you able to have that conversation?
Yes, Commissioners. I spoke with the Superintendent, Bob Hill, last week about this and the intention of doing an incremental change to our CRA tax map, tax abatement map. We As you recall, back in 2019, GOPC did a market analysis around our housing, and one of the recommendations was to implement a citywide CRA. We decided at the time that it wasn't best to do a citywide or blanket CRA. What we determined was to do about half the city, a little bit more than half the city. This takes us to about 3/4 of the city at this point. We believe this is, again, an incremental adjustment, specifically targeting and addressing neighborhoods that have an aging housing stock, and to encourage and incentivize reinvestment into those existing homes and properties.
So this is, just to clarify for the public, this is the same program that we implemented back in 2019 that served almost the entire south side of the city from one end east to west. This is just expanding it into more neighborhood. And Bobby, this is a question for you. You have some examples you can show us how this works? I know we've got this. Have you got it on a slide that you can share with everybody?
So I just printed out the slides for all the commissioners, but I can explain it if that's helpful for everybody else.
I think it would be.
So just to kind of explain how it works, so I broke it down into two different scenarios. So the first one would be if you were to own a home and say it was worth $200,000, the county, they're in charge of assessing your home, which is 35% of the fair market value. So they tax you based on, in your example here that I have for you, it's 60.88 mils, right? And that's the rate you would pay if you were in the city of Springfield and you were in Springfield City School District. So you would pay $4,261 in taxes. Now, if you were to do some sort of large-scale renovation, or you were to do some sort of redevelopment or some addition to your home within zoning allowances, the county would still perceive your house as that $200,000, even if it's now worth $250,000. So you will not see an increase in your tax bill for 15 years, because 15 years is the term that's designated for this. Conversely, because we don't want people to think they can just get a tax write-off for market conditions increasing, their home value. If someone were to have the same increase in their home value without doing a project of some kind, their tax bill would go from $4,200 to $5,300, for example. So it's not just if your neighborhood's doing well for some weird reason, you get a write-off. It's got to put the sweat equity in.
That's good information to have. And I think it's important that the public understand nobody is having their taxes reduced by what we're doing tonight. But if you improve your property and you're in the CRA and you apply to the city, you have to apply, right? It just doesn't happen automatic.
Yes, so once your project is completed for residential, you can go on our website, you can get an application, it's one page. You'll send it to a city manager's office. I'll process that, notify the school district, and then get the county the appropriate paperwork, and they'll file that, and your next year property tax, you'll see your abatement on there and your taxes foregone.
So real roughly from, is it Main Street, more or less, the northern southern boundary of the zone?
Right now.
The current boundary is up to McCrite/Mitchell.
Oh, that's
and
right.
And this takes it up to the best northern boundary to describe it is Home Road.
Home Road across, except anything north of Home Road is not included in that.
That is correct.
Okay. And the other thing is, there are some people, just because of the way the state of Ohio does business, who are in the Springfield City School District, but who are not in the city. So in order to take advantage of this, you have to be a city resident. If you live in a township, even if it's completely surrounded by the city, or your children go to Springfield City, but you don't live in the city, this doesn't apply to you. Is that correct?
Yeah, this is within the municipal boundary. The county does have their own enterprise zone and CRA programs that they manage and run, but this just is for properties within the municipal corporation.
But what we're trying to do here is incentivize people to build or improve, maintain their property in the city. Exactly the goals that we adopted back in 2019 haven't changed. This is the very thing that people were calling for last time we met when they said, do something that promotes city infill. Well, this promotes city infill. Thank you.
I do have one question. I'm sorry.
Alan,
If,
you have a right to that.
thank you.
Oh,
I'm apologizing to my friend who may be a little nervous.
No, I think I shook it off a little bit.
Okay, cool, but
I
perfect.
got 10 questions in, good.
I know, I don't want to be that person, right? So where would someone go if they were not able to really grasp everything that was said right now? Where could they go to look at the map to find out more information?
So if you go on the city website, springfieldohio.gov, and you go to business and development, in that page, there's a whole flyer on the CRA program, sort of the purpose of it, how to apply. The application is in a PDF there. And if you didn't know, how to navigate to that page, you can always call up the city manager's office. As for myself, I'll sound a lot less nervous than this, and I'm happy to answer any questions folks have about the CRA.
Perfect.
Any other questions or comments, Commission? Anyone in the audience want to speak to this? Or call the roll?
Mr. O'Neill?
Yes.
Dr. Estra?
Yes?
Ms. Phillips?
Yes.
Mr. Rue?
Yes.
Mr. Copeland?
Yes.
Authorizing the city manager to enter into a contract with Fuel Corporation to provide fuel services at the Springfield Beckley Municipal Airport to include the city's purchase and resale of aviation fuel in the course of doing business as a fixed-based operator for a period of 3 years with the option to renew for 3 additional 2-year periods. Authorizing the acceptance of a $30,000 grant from Fuel Corporation and declaring it an emergency therein.
Move to adopt.
Second.
Moved and seconded. Questions or comments from the Commission? This is one more step toward dramatically increasing what's going on at the airport, but I think for the good of all of us.
I was wondering, Mr. Mayor, if Seth would like to comment on this and what else is going on at the airport.
Yeah, so again, good evening. Thank you. But this is just another step to growing the growth at the airport and overall good for the community. We've had a lot of activity out there lately. We've kind of been all over the media, but we have a lot of eVTOLs and UAS activity going out at the airport. With that said, we get a larger customer base, and we see a lot more customers, a lot more testing, a lot more folks coming to the airfield. So this allows us to have a little bit more control and serve all those customers equally, not only just general aviation and corporate aircraft, but also those eVTOLs and other companies coming to the community.
Thank you, Seth. I also want to point out to everyone, there was an article in the New Sun today that pointed out the expansion of the Global Impact STEM Academy. That's located at the former South High School, the Dome. And one of the considerations that they're giving in terms of expansion is not only in terms of numbers, but also a second career path, frankly, focused on what we're focusing on at the Springfield Municipal Airport, and that is aerospace and aviation technology, which means we would have young people from Springfield, Clark County, this region, who would be able to transition immediately into jobs or additional education in this growing field, this emerging field. So I was very pleased to see that formally announced today. I know we've had a lot of visitors to the airport, including some folks from the Ohio Department of Education. So it looked like all those efforts have paid off. And Seth, thanks to you and Tom for being such good hosts out there.
Our pleasure. We enjoy it. The youth is the future of aviation. The aviation industry is a very big market nowadays. A lot of the baby boomers are retiring. What they call the baby boomers are retiring, and there's a lot of career options throughout aviation. Not only pilots, but managers and all this new technology. You know, we're going to need pilots and engineers and architects and mechanical engineering and all that for those positions as well.
Thank you.
Thank you.
Anyone else? Clerk will call the roll.
Ms. Phillips?
Yes.
Mr. Rue?
Yes.
Mr. O'Neill?
Yes.
Dr. Estrom?
Yes.
Mr. Copeland?
Yes.
Authorizing the city manager to enter into a contract with Ferguson Waterworks for the purchase of water meter equipment for a period of 3 years with an option to renew for 2 additional 1-year periods for an amount not to exceed $1,417,202.97 for the initial 3-year period and declaring an emergency therein.
So moved.
Second.
And moved and seconded. Questions or comments from the commission? From the audience? Clerk will call the roll.
Mr. O'Neill?
Yes.
Ms. Phillips?
Yes.
Mr. Rue?
Yes.
Dr. Estrom?
Yes.
Mr. Copeland?
Yes.
Authorizing a contract with Invoice Cloud for electronic utility bill payment and presentment services for the period of 3 years with an option to renew for 3 additional 2-year periods for an amount not to exceed $75,000 for the initial 3-year term and declaring an emergency therein.
So moved.
Second.
And moved and seconded. Questions or comments from the commission?
This is a new option, is it not? We don't currently have this, do we?
Good evening, Commissioners. I would suggest it's an expanded option, and we're very excited about it because we have been able to take bill payments electronically, but not in a system as robust as what we're going to be getting here. It's exciting because we'll be able to pay with credit card as we have in the past, PayPal, Google Pay, Apple Pay, as well as ACH options and online bill. So it's quite an expansion of our ability to take payments, making it easier for folks to pay their water and sewer.
Great. Thank you.
That is wonderful news. I am most delighted to hear that. Thank you.
Anyone else? Clerk will call the roll.
Mr. O'Neill?
Yeah.
Dr. Estrom?
Yes.
Mr. Rue?
Yes.
Ms. Phillips?
Yes.
Mr. Copeland?
Yes.
Authorizing a contract with Smart Bill Corp for utility bill printing and mailing services for the period of 3 years with an option to renew for 3 additional 2-year periods for an amount not to exceed $180,000 for the initial 3-year term and authorizing an additional expenditure in an amount not to exceed $480,000 to reimburse Smart Bill Corporation for postage expenses and declaring it an emergency therein.
Move to adopt.
Second.
And moved and seconded. Questions for the commission? From the audience? Clerk will call the roll.
Mr. Rue?
Yes.
Ms. Phillips?
Yes.
Mr. O'Neill?
Yes.
Dr. Estrom?
Yes.
Mr. Copeland?
Yes.
Authorizing the city manager to enter into a master services agreement with Verdantis LLC for professional consulting services to be used by various city departments for an amount not to exceed $15,000 and declaring an emergency therein.
To adopt.
Second.
And moved and seconded. Questions or comments from the commission?
What does Verdantis do? What kind of
This is for environmental remediation type work. They're working with us. Steve, along with Bobby, have been preparing a RFP to go out to hire an environmental consulting firm, but this will help us go after the dollars the state has made available in their brownfield remediation program.
Thanks.
Anyone else? Clerk will call the roll.
Phillips?
Yes.
Mr. O'Neill?
Yes.
Dr. Estrom?
Yes.
Mr. Rue?
Yes.
Mr. Copeland?
Yes.
Authorizing the city manager to enter into amendment number 1 to the subrecipient funding agreement, public facilities and improvements with Interfaith Hospitality Network Incorporated to decrease funding in the amount of $139,800 for a total contract amount not to exceed $45,200 and declaring an emergency therein.
So moved.
Second.
And moved and seconded. Questions, comments from the commission?
Why is it being increased? Or is that?
Yeah, so this is actually a good thing for our community. This is for the renovation and rehabilitation of Hartley House and Norm's Place. For IHN, we originally approved the full contract amount as if we would help fund the entire project, and the state of Ohio has provided funding to cover the majority of the expenses. There are still expenses associated with the roof, continued damage that came even after we entered into this contract that we will still pick up with our $45,200. But this is a big win that the state of Ohio is providing additional funding to IHN and to help us as a community address the homelessness issue that we see.
Anyone else? Clerk will call the roll.
Mr. Rue?
Yes.
Dr. Estra?
Yes.
Mr. O'Neill?
Yes.
Ms. Phillips?
Yes.
Mr. Copeland?
Yes.
Authorizing the city manager to enter into amendment number 3 to the consulting agreement with Urban Fast Forward Limited for the Springfield Engaged Neighborhood Planning Process Development, Phase 2, to increase the agreement in an amount not to exceed $19,375 for a total amount not to exceed $119,375, and to extend the completion date to July 1, 2022, confirming and approving related expenditures incurred from April 1, 2022, to the passage of this ordinance and declaring it an emergency therein.
Move to adopt.
Second.
Been moved and seconded. Questions or comments from the commission? From the audience? Clerk will call the roll.
Ms. Phillips?
Yes.
Mr. O'Neill?
Yes.
Dr. Estra?
Yes.
Mr. Rue?
Yes.
Mr. Copeland?
Yes.
The next item was added to the agenda, authorizing the issuance of a purchase order for the rebuild of a screw pump gearbox from Horner Industrial Group for an amount not to exceed $54,900 and declaring it an emergency.
So moved.
Been moved and seconded. Questions or comments from the commission?
I've seen this screw. It is truly a big screw. Do you wish to comment on that?
Chris, if you could
And
please,
it's critical to the whole operation of our sewer system.
Yeah, we're not getting screwed.
No, we're not.
And that is the important part. No, these are, these screws are very important to our operation, and there are 3 of them. We need 2 running all the time. 1 is down, we have no redundancy. So, getting this through and approved to get a quick rebuild is very important to us right now, so we appreciate your support.
Would you, Chris, if you don't mind, just give us an approximate size or dimensions of this thing, because it is huge.
Going from memory, we just had one shipped from Belgium. That was quite an experience getting that here. And they are 11 foot in diameter and roughly 30 feet long.
So if you can imagine a screw-like thing that 30 feet long and 11 feet in diameter,
Yeah.
that's what we're talking about. And it pumps water up, as I understand it, at the sewer plant.
Yep, that's what it does. If you've never seen it, it's pretty neat.
Yeah. Thank you.
Anyone else? Clerk will call the roll.
Mr. O'Neill?
Yes.
Dr. Estra?
Yes?
Ms. Phillips? Mr. Rue?
Yes.
Mr. Copeland?
Yes. That concludes our agenda. Are there other items that come before us from commissioners? Is there anyone in the audience who wants to address?
I'd like to mention, since nobody said anything, is very impressive opening for Kettering this weekend. The public attendance was really impressive. People came out. I made a comment to the directors over there. They must be giving something away. The city of Springfield, all these people show up being bussed in full. So again, I would wish Kettering the best in getting this off the ground, and it can be nothing but good for the.
I also noticed that the new Restore, which is the retail arm of Habitat, opened this weekend also. I'm trying to recall, I think it's on Durr Road.
It's the former drugstore.
Okay.
Friday?
Friday.
Yeah.
And then
yeah.
Salvation Army had
Good
a
location for 'em.
location there, and then now Habitat.
And the reason that's important is you can help in 2 ways. Obviously, you can benefit from some prices out there, but also by buying the items, you contribute to the work of Habitat. And Habitat has certainly been one of our partners as we've looked at trying to restore some of the homes or build new ones. So if you have the opportunity, I hear it's very nice. I haven't visited yet myself.
Well, they have been looking for over 2 years for a place to go from this operation. It will be impressive. Good location.
I was out of town for an important meeting, and I missed both. Sorry I did.
Rob Brew did a great job.
You were brought up. We brought your names up. All y'all's.
At the Julius Rhodes street renaming, I also had the pleasure of being there with Jill, and your names were also mentioned there as well. So great time.
So I don't need to be here, huh?
Well, move to
Princeton,
adjourn.
New Jersey, a little bit far to come.
Second.
Anything else from commissioners?
Oh, Home Depot celebrated their 20th year here this Thursday. Attended that. Hard to believe that they've been here that long, because that means that's about how long Bechtel Avenue's been here. Because they one of the first on it.
Anyone in the audience want to address us? Is there a motion to adjourn?
So moved.
Second.
Been moved and seconded. Clerk will call the roll.
Ms. Phillip?
Yes.
Mr. O'Neill?
Yes.
Mr. Rue?
Yes.
Dr. Estrop?
Yes?
Mr. Copeland?
Yes. The meeting is adjourned.